On Larry King Now, actor Mekhi Phifer.
I've never been to acting school, and so how I learned how to act was just watching my work.
Do you think you haven't gotten a role because of your color?
I've had people straight up say to me, "You were great, they love you," but I think they're just gonna go white with this.
Plus, do you buy the comparison of Shailene Woodley to Jennifer Lawrence?
I don't. You know, they're different spirits, they're different energies.
All next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Our special guest is Mekhi Phifer, the actor-producer, and you know him for his roles in 8 Mile, Soul Food, Clockers, and ER, of course. And now taking a turn as the leading commander of the Dauntless faction in sci-fi thriller Divergent, currently in theaters, in fact, the #1 show in theaters this past weekend, the highest grossing film at the box office. It's set maybe to be the next Hunger Games. Before anything else, what kind of name is Mekhi?
That's an interesting question. It's actually an Arabic name.
Not African. Why did they name you that?
Well, my mom, she thought, this was before, it was like, to get the sonogram and amniocentesis and all that kind of stuff. And so she, in her mind, she thought I was going to be a girl. And so, and my mother is very Afrocentric. And so she wanted to name me Mecca if I was going to be a girl. And so, obviously, I'm no girl, Larry, you know. So,
I get that.
So then Mekhi is what she came up with.
Are you surprised at Divergent's success?
Not really. I mean, I knew when I read the script that how great it was, how, and all of the great people that were attached to it, from Kate Winslet to Neil Berger to Ashley Judd. And then, doing more research and then finding out that the book in itself has sold over 11 million copies worldwide. It's a bestseller. So I knew it came with a fan base. I knew it came with a built-in audience.
Part, though, right?
Well, in this first one, no. I mean, it's really focused on Shailene's character and Theo's character, and sort of establishing all these other characters. I don't think there's a lot of characters. Even myself, Ashley, Kate Winslet. We're not used to doing these smaller type roles, but that was just the first installment.
Have you seen the second?
I haven't yet.
Are you in the second?
I am in the second. I live in the first one.
Do you think it'll be a much larger part?
I think so. That's what they've been telling all of us, that the first one sort of establishes everyone, and that the second one we would definitely get to delve into who these people are and sort of what motivates them and how did they get to where they are in life.
The good actor sort of imagine what it was like, this character, how he got to be what he is.
Right.
You don't know that yet about Max.
I don't know that yet about Max, and that's what's interesting about it.
it.
I do think about it. I'm looking forward to seeing what the writers come up with, because I'm still waiting for the second script. I mean, we start shooting in May, so it should be any day now. But so I am looking forward to seeing what they have, sort of made his motivation. To
why he does what he does.
Did he grow up in Dauntless? Did he, how did he become Dauntless? And then, did he come from a different faction? And then also too, how did he become the leader? That's, because that's a hell of a task. Now
the film has got mixed response. 80% of the audience loved it. Only 40% of the critics. You understand that?
Well, yeah, and the interesting thing is, the critics don't buy tickets, so I have to go with the audience on that. I mean, obviously, you look at the success of it so far, but the critics, they know what they know, and I think sometimes you can be, as a critic, extremely jaded. You see so many different films, you see so many different actors, working all the time. Do
you buy the comparison of Shailene Woodley to Jennifer Lawrence?
I don't know Jennifer Lawrence personally, but I don't. I feel like they're two different, separate entities. I think that what we're looking at more so than anything else is that, you have a heroine at the helm of this whole thing. And I think those are the comparisons, but I think they're two different individuals. When I see them do interviews, or when I see, and I know Shailene, obviously, I think, they're different spirits, they're different energies.
Do women face the same thing in movies that blacks have faced?
Well, in certain respects, I think there have been limitations in certain respects. I think that they're, depending on the woman, I mean, you ask Julia Roberts that, she probably would say no. But I think that as an African American in this film industry, there are certain challenges, and one of the challenges is sort of having other people think outside the box as far as where you can go as an actor or a character. You know, that's the biggest challenge, I think, for African Americans in film.
Could Max have been white?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Most of the characters that I play, tell you the truth, except for maybe just a couple of films, could be black, white, Indian, Mexican, you know, Asian.
Sidney Poitier and Denzel, they've changed all that, haven't they?
Well,
have they?
I think that they've broken through. They haven't. I don't know if they've changed the way that Hollywood and even certain parts of the world view African Americans or the African American experience. I think that they've broken through the mold, despite that people are still sort of thinking inside a box and rather than outside a box, and in the way that they look at us and portray us in film and television.
Do you think you haven't gotten a role because of your color?
Well, I've had people straight up say to me, you know, well, you know what, you were great, they love you, but I think they're just gonna go white with this, you know, and it's
Does that bother you?
Well, I mean, you know, especially, it bothers you to a certain degree. I think any actor who wants to work and portray different characters and be out there, when you know you're right for something or you feel you're right for something, and to be sort of passed over by someone who, you know, is going to bring something different to the role than you would have. You know, you get bothered by it, but, you know, Larry, I can't complain. I've been blessed. You know, I've been working,
most
you know,
of the time, right?
for my whole 20 years so far that I've been in the business.
Why do you like acting?
Because it allows me to delve into people that I never would have met in any other form of work. Like, you know, I was going to college for electrical engineering, and that job would have limited me in getting to meet all of the various people that I've met so far.
You can be anything.
Exactly.
Mekhi on acting opposite Harvey Keitel before he even knew he could act.
That's
Stay
right.
with us.
Initiates, stand. You have chosen to join the warrior faction, tasked with the defense of this city and all its inhabitants. We believe in ordinary acts of bravery, in the courage that drives one person to stand up for another. Respect that. Do us proud.
That scene from the runaway hit Divergent, where was that shot?
Chicago.
You got your first job you ever auditioned for, the lead in Spike Lee's Clockers. How did that come about?
Well, actually, it was I went to an open casting call with my cousin
For
Sylvester.
laughs, or you were serious?
No, I was for laughs. I never acted before and didn't really see it as attainable. So I just kind of went with him to an open casting call, and they had me come down to the audition, and then Spike Lee auditioned me about 8 different times, and I had to read with Harvey Keitel and Isaiah Washington and do improvisations and all this crazy stuff that I had never done before. And then he told me I got the role, and that's what got me sitting in front of you.
So you worked with Harvey, my fellow Brooklynite.
That's right. That's right.
Good guy.
He's a good guy.
What was it like, though, to sit and work with him? I mean,
Well, you know, to be quite honest, it was funny because I had auditioned maybe about 4 or 5 times before I got to read with Harvey, and with all kind of different scenes. And they were like, okay, now look, you're gonna come back, and this time you're gonna read with Harvey Keitel. I didn't know who the hell Harvey Keitel was.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't. I was 19, you know, grew up in Harlem. I wasn't into film like that, so I didn't even know who he was. So there was no real intimidation factor. The most intimidating thing was sitting in front of Spike Lee.
Spike Lee has been openly critical, I'm told, of Brooklyn's ongoing gentrification. You were raised in Harlem. Is Harlem different now?
Oh, it's absolutely different.
Bill Clinton has changed it a little.
A little bit. I think, you know, Bill coming up there just showed the sign of the times, you know, which was the change. You know, obviously, as you know, when property values go up, you know, more of the, for lack of a better term, the indigenous folks that were already there, sort of get pushed out if you're on a fixed income or you're on a lower bracket
Is that
income.
happening in Harlem?
It is. It is. I mean, you know.
Harlem years ago was a very prominent neighborhood, you know, in the 1800s.
Oh, of course, and even in the 30s and whatnot, Cotton Club and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, it's interesting now because, listen, it's a twofold answer for me. One, I grew up in Harlem, so yeah, there was a safety factor that you always factored in. You know, you always kind of had to watch your back, and you know, there's drugs and crime and violence. And now it's a lot safer, you know, but then it's lost some of the flavor, that the essence of what Harlem was.
Still got the Apollo, though.
Still got the Apollo.
You were raised by a single mom. Mm-hmm. How did that affect your life, do you think?
Well,
having a strong mother figure.
Well, I think that it was my mother was very strong. School teacher, choreographer, dancer, always focused on not just education, but also arts and things like that, her being a dancer. So she was always supportive of, and always got me into extracurricular things. So it wasn't just school, it was sleepaway camps, you know, going upstate New York, after school programs, you know, going to doing after school programs on Saturdays at the Presbyterian Hospital uptown on 168th Street, you know, going to Columbia University. So she always instilled sort of a lot of different things that helped me be here.
She's still around?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You wanted to be a rapper?
Yeah, at one point I was into music, yeah.
Were you a good rapper?
I think I was pretty good years ago.
You write your own stuff?
I did, yeah.
You starred with Eminem in the movie 8 Mile, right?
That's right.
What was he like to work with?
He was great. Big shout out to M. He was a lot of fun.
And I'm told he just became the second best-selling male artist since 1991, right behind Garth Brooks.
That's great.
Does that surprise you?
Not really. I mean, he's extremely talented, always had sort of an unorthodox way of approaching the music game. You know, stirred up a lot of controversy throughout his music career. And he's just damn good at what he does. He's
Had
really
you
good.
stayed in the musical end, you must think about how good do you think you'd have been?
You know, it's hard to say, Larry. I mean, you know, for me, you know, it's hard to say. I guess it would have counted on my how much conviction I had to be in it. This goes to show you, when I got into the film industry, music took a back seat right off the top. So this is where my passion really lies. So I don't know how passionate I would have been to stay in the music game.
That scene we just saw, a powerful scene, obviously. Was it fun to do?
It was fun to do. You know, it was fun to work with everyone there. It was a very relaxed
How many
set.
takes did it take?
Well, Neil Berger, he likes to do a lot of takes.
Oh.
That's his style. I call him a man of 1,000 takes. I mean, you swear you got it. And he's like, okay, let's go again. That was great. Excellent. Let's go again.
I hate that. Coming up, Mekhi on the most rewarding thing he's done. Stay with us. With Mekhi Phifer, he stars in, one of the stars, in the runaway hit Divergent. He's also going to be in Divergent. What are they going to call it, Divergent 2?
Or Insurgent. That's the second
Insurgent.
one. Insurgent, yeah.
You said that the most rewarding thing you did was Broadway.
Yes.
What did you do on Broadway?
Well, I did a play called Stick Fly. It was an original play, a very progressive play, where I played the oldest brother, and we were a prominent black family that had a house in Martha's Vineyard, amongst other places. But this whole particular play took place in Martha's Vineyard.
How long did it run?
It ran for 5 months.
Do you enjoy it? You obviously enjoy it.
I loved it. I mean, it was something that I had never done before in my professional career. So it was nice to sort of be able to connect with the fans and everyone there every night. You know, every night after each show, we would, you know, go out, sign autographs, take pictures. But it took you on a roller coaster ride. You know, it made you laugh, made you cry, made you gasp.
But you have response. I would imagine if I were an actor, I'd love theater.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
The curtain opens, it's yours.
Oh, it's you. Yeah, this is you.
The director's gone now.
Exactly, and he can't.
No one more take.
No more take, and you gotta know your stuff. But, you know, you rehearse for about 4.5 weeks, and, you know, you get it in.
You got offered the role in Raisin in the Sun, couldn't do it?
I did, just because of, I had other obligations, I couldn't do it. And it's the same director who directed Stick Fly, my guy Kenny Leon.
Work with Denzel, huh?
Yeah, that would have been wonderful. That would have been wonderful. I got some other friends that are in the play, but I would have loved to be.
That was the play that
New York.
That play made Sidney Poitier.
Of course.
Years ago.
Of course.
And Carol had to pull out her hair.
Yeah, she did. She did.
Some say that you were in TV's golden age with ER. You agree?
I do agree. I think there is a certain aspect of television these days that are different. You know, with the economy, everything, you know, and not only that, there's just a multitude of networks and outlets for TV to be shown on.
Was that fun? I did a day there with all those actors on when they were doing that. Was that a fun thing to do, ER?
ER was one of the best
complicated,
jobs
man,
I
to
ever
run
had.
around that hospital.
Oh, it was. I mean, but you know, and it's funny because it would definitely separate the men from the boys when you were a part of that show. I've seen well-known actors come on that show and struggle.
Really?
Very hard, yes.
Was it the movements you had to do?
Just because of the pace. There's a pace, and then
Oh,
when
yeah,
when you're a series regular and you get used to that, it's almost like muscle memory. And so other actors would come from doing films or whatever, and they're used to a slower pace. They would used to, okay, well, it's going to take an hour and a half to light. When we would light in 3 minutes, our guy, our DP, Arthur Albert, you know, we were always pre-lit. So after we would, you know, do our blocking rehearsal, it was time to shoot. And so we couldn't fool around, but I've seen guys struggle.
I hear your dream role is Al Green.
Al Green is definitely one of my top.
Have you talked about playing him?
I have.
There's a movie in him.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, from where he came from and from just sort of the adversity and the things that he has had to go into, and by no way was he a saint, and I wouldn't want to portray him as that, but, you know, he was definitely, he grew up in a time where, in an era of craziness, you know, but was still impactful, and his music is still relevant to this day.
You're about to celebrate a 1-year anniversary, right?
That's right.
How'd you meet the wife?
I met the wife. I met the wife 15 years ago at a premiere party. She's
15 years ago?
15 years ago.
What took so long to get married?
Well, you know, that's a good question. I was actually getting divorced from my first wife. And
oh, you were 11 years old?
I was about that. I was 24. What happened was we wound up sort of dating and just going through that thing, and then we broke up. And I spent a few years in another relationship, and then as soon as that relationship was over, we kind of just picked up where we left off.
Now you have 2 children from your first marriage?
Well, my oldest son is from my first marriage, and my second son is from my old relationship.
Are you close with the boys?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Are you a good dad?
I am a good dad.
Do you know?
Great dad.
Are you going to have another baby?
Well, you know, I mean, we talk about it all the time. You know, we'll see what happens, and of course, we take it in stride. So, you know, I love the kids, man. I'm daddy duties like.
Is your wife good with the kids?
She's great.
That's
with the
important
kids.
because
extremely important.
Stepmothering ain't easy.
It's not easy, but my boys love her. They love her. Of course, they love their mothers, you know, but they really love her. And not that they don't really love their mothers, but they do really love her. And, you know, she's just a great mom. She really is. And very attentive. You know, just they can confide in her. They love to hug her and kiss her.
Boys, have they seen Divergent?
My oldest has.
And what did he think?
He loved it. He came with me to the premiere.
What did you like when you see the finished product? What was it like for you?
There was a number of things that I liked when I saw the finished product. I think, you know, one of the first things that took me aback was just the production value as soon as it opens up. As soon as the film opens up, you sort of get this post-apocalyptic, post-war view of Chicago. And if you know Chicago and you know the landmarks and all of the things, and you see it in this way, like Lake Michigan is dried up. There's no Lake Michigan. You know what I mean? So when you see sort of this sort of pseudo world, it really brings you in. So I love the production value.
Do you watch and do you say to yourself, I would have done this differently, or?
Well, not
Are you
this particular
self-critical?
Film. Now I, you know, I'm sort of set in the way that I perform and how I portray characters. When I first did Clockers, and I saw Clockers the first time, truth be told, when I look at it now, it's hard for me to look at it because I'm so much more seasoned, you know, and I see scenes that I would have done differently or approached differently, or certain close-ups that I wouldn't have blinked so much, or maybe I wouldn't have moved so much. But I mean, it's still a great experience for me, and that's how I learned how to act. I've never been to acting school, and so how I learned how to act was just watching my work. And luckily, I was blessed to be able to get work.
Would Mekhi rather give up his favorite sneakers or sunflower seeds? You're into that too, some of my boys. We'll find out after a break. He'll be taking your questions next. You've got another movie coming out, A Day Late and a Dollar Short, with Whoopi Goldberg and Ving Rhames.
Yes.
What's that about?
It's about a family, sort of, going through some controversial situation. Well, more of a, no, it's drama. It's drama, but there's funny moments in the drama. So it's not a comedy. It's there's funny moments, but it's very real. Like kind of like the movie. I play the oldest son. I got a bunch of sisters, and he has his issues. And Whoopi's my mom, and Ving is my dad. And there's issues, and I have drinking issues and some other issues. Like when you first see my characters, like I'm getting out of jail, like I got a DUI or something like that. And
where did that shoot?
Shot in Toronto.
Is it true you want to get a pilot's license?
I do. I do. I would love to. I haven't yet, but that is something that is part of my bucket list.
We have some social media questions for you.
Great.
Christina via Twitter asks, did you read the trilogy prior to accepting the role in Divergent?
I did not. I wanted the script, being that the script is an adaptation of the book, I wanted that to stand on its own 2 feet, and I wanted to just delve into the character that was on the page. But I do have all the books, and once I finish or I get killed off, then I will delve right into it.
You don't know what happens, right?
I don't know what happens.
Robert Campbell via Google. Did you find the Divergent script politically, religiously, or racially relevant, either in the United States or world politics?
Absolutely, I definitely did. I mean, I think that, one thing I loved about the script when I read it, and even when I see it, it deals with a lot of different views, a lot of different sort of things that are going on in the world today. So you got your socioeconomic aspect of it, you have your political aspect of it, and everything else in between. So I think it's definitely relevant for today.
If you could go back in history, who would you like to meet? Fenver tweeted that.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Well, I've never met Nelson Mandela.
You'd have loved him.
I know, I feel that from all, and I've seen everything that's been done on him and about him, and including the latest Idris Elba installment, and he did a wonderful job, I thought. And so did Sidney Poitier. I mean, there's so many people that have portrayed him, and Morgan Freeman. I mean, they all did wonderful jobs.
Okay, we play a game of If You Only Knew. I just throw out questions.
Okay, cool.
Remember the first girl you kissed?
Yes.
What was her name?
Her name is Shanna.
Shanna, and where was that?
That was in New York.
In Harlem?
Yep, probably uptown, exactly. I was maybe about 5 or 6 years old.
Was it school or?
No, we were at my mother and her mother best friends. And so we were kids, we were the same age, and we were kids, and so my mom would go and hang out with her best friend. And I think I'll never forget, we were watching HBO. And they were kissing on TV, and we were playing house or something like that. And so then we just started kissing. And she's the first one who taught me how to tongue kiss, actually.
Whoa.
Because I did like the regular, close your lips kiss, and she was like, no, that's not how they do it on TV. You got to open your mouth.
What happened to her?
She's around. I mean, she's married and got kids and very happily married. And, big shout out to Shanna and her husband, Corey. And
a role you wish you could do over?
Clockers.
Which Diversion faction best describes you?
As of right now, I think
Abnegation, erudite, dauntless, amity, or candor?
Right now, I would say candor. But when I was 16, I would say dauntless for sure.
Would you rather give up your favorite pair of sneakers or not eat sunflower seeds for 2 months?
Well, I don't have a favorite pair of sneakers, so the sneakers are right out the window. I'm a sunflower seed junkie.
By that, I mean my kids have them at their ball games.
Oh, yeah. I need an intervention.
Where do you spit them? Everywhere?
I don't spit them everywhere. I usually have a bowl or a cup.
You like them all kinds of flavors or just salt?
Nope, just the regular salt.
You know there's pickled sunflower seeds?
Yeah,
that's gross.
I don't like ranch or any of that.
What do you love most about Harlem?
Oh man, the people. I think the people make it.
Is there a TV show fans would be surprised to know you watch?
Well, maybe I love Shark Tank. You know.
Oh, it is a great show.
It's a great show. I love it.
Do you have a vice?
A vice? Well, my vice is sunflower seeds and TiVo. Those are my vices.
Favorite My Cousin Vinny quote?
There's so many. I love My Cousin Vinny. You know,
Utes. You Utes.
You Utes. You Utes, right, exactly. That's one of them. So
favorite Big Lebowski quote?
Oh, man. Donnie, you're out of your element.
Time travel or space travel?
Time travel.
You're on a desert island. What 3 things do you have with you?
Wow. Water, drinkable water. Gotta have that. I need lighters so I can start fires. And probably some form of a weapon so I can hunt.
All survival instincts.
All survival.
Thing about your kids that most surprises you?
That they're so different, yet they love each other so much. My oldest is very cautious and much more in his head. My youngest is like, he's not scared of anything.
I can't believe this. Same way with mine.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you're great meeting you, man.
Man, the pleasure's all mine.
Thanks to our special guest, Mekhi Phifer. Remember, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things, and I'll see you next time.